And depending on the way you build your brief for your scene,
Hmm.
which by the way, if y'all haven't like gotten on the boat about this, um, I appreciate the succinctness of the beat, but there is a larger way to think about formulating scenes, formulating chapters, entire chapters. So if I were y'all, I would start thinking a lot about uh, the more expansive ways that you can use AI to like understand the essence of the scene. Talk about the little things that would never be brought up in a beat.
Yes.
Something that you can't see because you aren't looking at it from 10,000 feet. And so you can't have this thing that happens and weaves its way through the entire scene unless you're writing an entire brief, an entire synopsis dossier that expresses motivations and rises and falls. So you really should think more expansively than just the beat.
Right.
And in that, you will find your voice, and your voice is the data set. It
And
is yeah.
the
Go ahead.
important thing about beats is y'all need to know the history of where beats comes from.
Mm.
So originally, I called them commands. And I'm saying I because it was January of last year that a group of us were working with ChatGPT 3.5, and we were trying to figure out how to make it follow a set of instructions and write a scene. Now, this is before I ever joined the pseudo write team. This is before, oh yeah, I've got the thumbs up things. This was back when I was running the intro to AI authors class through my Gumroad. And I was a one woman show. I was like, well, can't find any, like I was learning friends who were in this space and everything like that. And I'm not saying we invented beats because beats has always already existed. That's why we didn't call them beats back then. We called them commands. And it was literally a list of about 10 through 15 commands that would say what happens and how to write it. Because we were working with the OG 3.5 ChatGPT. It did not have 16,000 tokens of context. It only had 4,000 tokens of context. So beats comes from a time when you literally had only 2,700 words to work with for both instructions and output.
That means that you only had a very short amount of tokens to be your brain, the
Yes,
thing that referred to other things within your brain. And so
RAG
everything had to be short. Everything had
RAG
to
did
be
not
very
exist
short.
yet,
No,
not as it does today. It wasn't around.
no.
There was no fine tuning other than fine tuning Babbage at the time and embeddings. Actually, I don't even know that that was really readily available to everybody. I think it was only available to like academics and stuff. It wasn't available to outside customers. No fine tuning was available to like just Joe Schmo off the streets coming in to OpenAI.
Right.
So understanding that Beats comes from a time of working with large language models that were actually not so large at the time in terms of their output,
Yeah.
you can understand that we were working with a constriction that doesn't exist today. And
Yeah.
so people have attached themselves to this idea that writing with AI means writing beat by beat. And I get that if you're a pantser, but if you're a plotter, you should probably have moved on by now to writing briefs and sequences and really leveraging that context window in order to do a much deeper dive into your prompting and everything like that.
Mm. Unfair to talk about the sequencing thing because a lot of other programs don't actually have the ability to sequence, but Rexy does have the ability to sequence. And just in case anyone's wondering what that even means,
Oh, I'm gonna
it's
show it in a few minutes.
did I
Mhm.
did I was about to jump your gun?
No, you weren't. You're doing a
I was
great intro. Go ahead. So
uh,
what is sequencing?
sequencing. Think about this. What if you wanted to iterate on a theme? Or what if you wanted to write an entire novella in like an afternoon and you wanted to do all of that efficiently and in your voice? So maybe you have a bunch of system instructions or a bunch of things that you put together and you're trying to iterate inside of Chat GPT or something like that, and you're just not getting what you want. Well, a sequence of
Mhm.
events happens in linear order. So you can write instructions and then put that in all of those instructions in. And then once you have all of your instructions filled in, let's say 10 instances of your instructions filled in, then you can run that as a sequence and it will either go through your same chapter 4 times, 6 times, and make it better or run it with different AI because I got a chance to look at that last night.
And we're
Uh,
showing it today. Yeah, I
yes,
gotta
and
show
you're
it
showing it
today.
today, and so you can have all of this ability to iterate sequentially on either the same theme and see what comes out at the end, and then you do your validation, or you could, write a bunch of chapters in a row and then do your validation.
Yes.
And, and it gets even better once you put a fine tune in there that already knows your voice and you'll have a brief that has motivation for the scene. And
Mhm.
all of those things are working together to really kind of write what you are. Not what other people think you are, not what you think you are, but what the AI thinks you are. And you usually get really kind of what you are.
And it's not about it being complicated because these are things that people are doing all the time manually.
I'm an actor for a living, y'all. I did
Yeah.
I'm a barista and an actor for a living, and
Yeah.
I did that for years and years, y'all. This is not rocket science.
I have a degree in political science. I do not have a degree in tech or anything like that.
There
So,
you go.
Rexy is not complicated. It's about control for the creative. And then the
Yeah.
last thing I wanted to talk about before we jump into Rexy, and this is why it's important to me. It's the last little thing about soapboxing that I promised you at the beginning of it. It was important to me that when we built Rexy, and this is going to be vulgar, so apologies. We did not have authors by the short hairs. And let me explain that. Okay. There is I'm not going to explain what the meaning of that thing is, but there is, the sunk cost fallacy. When you use a piece of software and it's just too difficult to move to something else. How easy is it for you, Ekello, if you are working with Rexy and it writes to your Notion pages, if you decide you want to go work with some of that stuff into ChatGPT or Novel Crafter or Pseudo Write
Mhm. It's just a matter of exporting the page from Notion, and then it's
or
usually
copying and pasting from Notion into it? Like,
or even copy and pasting. I'm talking about like if you want it to be something definitive that can either go into Scrivener or into a Google Doc or whatever you want, you can just export it as a markdown and it kind of
and
hunky
it goes
dory.
right into Scrivener. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that was the important thing. In other words, is your data trapped in Rexy at any
yeah.
time?
No,
No.
actually, it's never in Rexy. To be honest, it's actually just processed by Rexy, and as
Yes.
long as you have auto log and auto write on, everything just automatically goes over there. I haven't had to cut and paste anything for a while. I'm a little and when things happen that I actually have to do some cutting and pasting, I get a little frustrated, but I also understand what tools I have, right?
Hmm.
So, Rexy's great because it's good for either idea generation or actual word generation or manipulation of plots, whatever you want. You can build different prompts from different aspects of the library to kind of make up a prompt of your own. You can look at prompts, you can copy things and make and use your own imagination to make to like, further the prompt on for your specific
Yes.
genre, meaning like sci-fi or crime drama or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And and then you can do anything you want. You can take all of that information that you built in the library, and drop it into a prompter, and then start iterating on it. And eventually, what is I'm really excited about is that the chat function is going to get some much more comprehensive functionality to it so that we can then use a lot of that information inside of that chat too. Because
Yes.
that is a avenue that really can be just expanded upon. There's so many
Bubble.
avenues.
I literally had a meeting on it this afternoon. Bubble chat is coming, and I can tell you that it'll be here before February 1st. Thank you for joining us on something wickedly cool in AI. This is what we do in our lab sessions. So the Future Fiction Academy is 8 labs a week. You can come live, you can watch the replays after, you get the transcript, You also get the lab report. So the five of us are the main instructors for Future Fiction Academy, and we work together to specialize in different parts of AI tools to come up with really innovative prompting and how to use these tools in our everyday publishing careers. So if you would like to join the Future Fiction Academy, we would love to have you, because it's a community that is AI positive, and we're all working together to stay on top of this new technology before we all get left behind. We invite you to come join us and have fun, because we love to play with this stuff, and we love to share it. So hope to see you in lab soon. Bye.